Okay, just me and Girish right now.
What's up?
We're waiting for Will and Kellyanne to come.
It's bored, you know.
God. I said 1 o'clock. It's 1:13. Will and Kellyanne are finally here, so we can start.
Oh shit.
I actually really wanted you guys to be here for the pre-episode bit that I wanted to do for this one. So I thought we're doing Get Out, so I thought it'd be fun if we all went around and said our favorite white person phrases. Now, I've been pretty vocal about what mine are, and I actually have two. But first, I want to say disclaimer, like, no disrespect. I was, like, looking through the Spotify, like, genres and stuff like that to see who views this. And there's one person listening to it from a 45 to 60 age range that's male. I can only assume that's your dad, Kellyanne. So, Mr. Smith, if you're listening to this, no disrespect, but these are my favorite white people phrases. I gotta go. My first one is "all right, buckaroo." Never heard anyone but a white person ever say that. All right, I'm gonna say my other one in case someone else had that too. Girish, you have one?
I'm a very tolerant and non-racist man. So actually, I don't know. I can't think of any right now.
I expect you guys to have good ones, being white people.
I drop some a lot. People make fun of me for it.
What, like what?
Like what?
Like, risk it for a chocolate biscuit.
Yeah, that's classic. It's classic Will Furth all
even
day.
If your aunt had balls, she'd be your uncle.
You say that all the time.
I used to say that. I'm more inclusive now. That's an outdated phrase, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Kellyanne,
She could be whatever she wants.
I don't know. I guess, like I was saying earlier today to Will, like my dad, when we're leaving for trips, he'll be like, "Wheels up at 9. Wheels up." So that's like a white person thing to me.
My other one was Newsflash Buddy, which I saw on Twitter. I thought it was funny, but
I like that one.
yeah.
Yeah, wait. I know this my dad says this too, kind of. But like whenever like dads greet each other at like a restaurant, they're like, "Oh, it looks like they just let anyone in here."
Just straight up dad.
Your dad last night when he saw some random guy with his clubs last night, and he was like, "How'd you hit him?" Just some random guy. And the guy was like, "Not great today." I don't know. They just had a conversation. They became friends right then.
I have a side story about this. I'm pretty sure I've already told you guys this, but at my work, there's this guy, Matt, and Matt is a very white dude. So, like, on the second day of work or something, we were having this conversation in the office, like, what's your favorite white person phrases? And, like, we were talking about it, and he's listening, and after, like, 5-10 minutes, he's like, all right, if you guys keep doing this shit, I'm going to have to go to the HR with this. And, like, this was the second day of work, so I wasn't sure if he was kidding or not, but...
Did you eventually discover if he was kidding or
Yeah,
not?
he was kidding.
Okay, good.
Matt is cool, so, yeah.
Shout out to Matt.
Shout out to Matt
Love
if you're
you,
listening
Matt.
to this.
I got one more. It's the one I use now instead of the. If ifs and buts were candies, and buts, the world would be a better
I
place.
feel like you've been saying that since like middle
I
school.
use
Will,
them
I've
interchangeably.
Never heard you say
No, because we made fun of him in middle school or in
Because
like high
Will
school.
only
and
hung
we
out
were
with us
saying
brown
When
kids.
would you
So.
use those phrases?
Whenever
It's because
someone
whenever
says-
applicable.
every time
Yeah.
someone said like if this, will be like if ifs and buts were candies.
I don't know. I like using them. Maybe I'll start using them.
No.
Please do. All right. Well, this is Overrated. We're back. All right. I'm Sujay.
Girish.
Well,
Kellyanne.
Oh, is he on?
All right. We'll just drop into categories because I added this as a category since we just talked about it in every podcast. First one is where were you? Where were you when we watched the movie first time? This is going to be interesting because Will was the only one who watched this for the first time with us. We rewatched it a few days ago. I think the first time I watched it, it was very recently after it had come out, like maybe a few weeks. I remember I pirated it on some stream and it was so bad. It was like cam quality, but I really wanted to watch the movie, so I like bear through it.
We pirated it last night too.
Yeah, but it was HD quality then. But when I pirated it, it was like cam quality. It was like complete shit. Like people were walking in front of it, but like I really wanted to watch that movie at that point. So I was like, all right, I'm finishing this. And like I didn't even understand the end of the movie because it was like so bad quality. So I had to like read the like plot summary and like understand what happened. But yeah, that's the first time I watched it. When did you watch? I'm surprised Girish watched this on his own.
Okay, no, yeah, I'll tell you. Okay, so if you guys know me, personally.
You say, "Do you know me?" on every podcast.
Yeah,
but
I don't think
most
we
of
have
the people
fans.
listening to this don't
Yeah,
know
I don't
you.
think really.
Probably.
I feel like more of, I guess it. Well, either way, I assume that Sujay's friends with someone, but like, if you have not been acquainted with me, I really don't like horror movies at all. Like, I'm a big scaredy cat, so like, I don't really like to watch horror movies unless like people force me to, you know. And so, the first time I watched this was like it came out of freshman year or something.
Yeah, probably. Of
Freshman
high
year-
school.
High school maybe, I don't know. But like, so like all my friends, they were like, we were in this GM and they're like, dude, like, have you guys seen Get Out? Like, it's such a good movie. And I'm like, hell no, like, I'm not gonna watch it. It seems like a horror movie.
Absolutely not.
And then when my friends watched it, they're like, dude, it's not even that bad. And like slowly everyone in like this GM, they started watching. They're like, okay, you guys gotta watch it. I'm like, okay. Like, are you sure there's no jump scares? And I don't think there were any. There was like a couple. But anyways, they were like, no, it's like actually a good thriller movie. I'm like, okay. And I actually watched it on my own. It was bright light outside. Like, I had the blinds open, you know, no mood whatsoever, just to make sure. But yeah, I was just in my bed on my laptop on yet another illegal stream. But yeah, and it wasn't as bad because my lights were on. So then I watched it again a second time with Ramen Surya, I think. And
So you've seen it 3 times?
yeah, like I watched the end the second time because I think we went to Ramen Surya's in freshman year and they were finishing up.
I watched it 4 times.
Yeah, they were
actually.
finishing up the movie.
I forgot we
and
watched
so
it
I
again.
walked in, like me and Sujay walked in because I think we were like gonna do something after, and they were like, we got like 20 minutes left in this movie, and that's like the main climax anyway. So yeah, I watched like the last, and I watched it again with you guys. So
Kellyanne.
I watched it. I think I was at my house with my dad and my sister. I think it was at least definitely with my dad. I don't remember if my sister was there, but we were just like pirating it. So.
Has anyone watched this movie legally?
No.
Has anyone paid to watch this movie?
Is it even on like any platform?
No, it's not. I think you'd have to like either rent it from Amazon or like
illegally
something.
stream
Oh,
that
Yeah,
shit.
it's like they get enough money. Like,
All right, let's drop into score it. Give us your rating of the movie, personal rating, and the Rotten Tomatoes score. I've decided, like, since we have confusion about this every time, the score that you're guessing for Rotten Tomatoes is the like critic score because that's what you get. That's what you get when you like just look it up.
okay.
So personal score first. I like this movie for a thriller movie. Like I don't like horror movies that are just like stuff like jumping out at you. Like the ones that are like ideologically scary, like that actually have like ideas behind them. So I gave it 90. I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, so if you guys listened in on the last podcast, I came to some conclusions after realizing that my scoring system was very flawed, and I stuck it on a 10-point scale. So since we only done 2 movies, I want to go back and revise those just real quick right
What
now.
the-
I'm sorry,
Oh
I
my God.
wanted to stick
He's
to my
retconning.
integrity. I'm retconning, but I realized that I stuck myself to a 10-point scale. So all I'm gonna do is if you haven't seen the first 2 podcasts, you don't really care. But
No,
I'm
go
just,
watch them.
Go watch them, but ignore my rating because I'm changing Dead Poet Society to a 70 and then A Star Is Born to a 72. This movie, I think it was about an 80.
All right.
Yeah, personally.
Personal, yeah,
Yeah,
personal.
mine's an 82.
I don't even remember. What my
82
last
80
or
as well.
okay.
I think you were on the lower end for both of them, like 70 to
70 is
75.
low.
Yeah,
I'm just
am
changing my scale.
genuinely
I'm just
shocked.
changing my scale because I
You
realized
just shift. You didn't even change the
You just
scale. You
changed
shifted
it
it
to
down.
below what
So
all
I
of us
can
thought.
give a higher
You
rating.
liked it more than any of us did. You just gave it a lower rating than we all did.
but it's my personal scale. So my 70 is worth like a lot more
It's a
than your
100-point
70.
scale. It's the same for everyone.
Yeah, but like I don't know, man.
Yeah, you didn't think that hard about it. I can tell.
I just want more space to go up.
Good lord.
I give it.
You just shifted everything down, and then like
Subtract
two-
now you're back at
two
80.
2 episodes from now, he's gonna like,
Yeah.
guys, I shifted down again. Okay, Dead Post Society, it's like a 30. Like
You're back at 80 already. So
Hey, I
next
know what
movie
I'm
you're
doing.
gonna like more. It's gonna be a 90.
No,
and
no,
then
it
you're
won't
on
be
the
a
10-point
90.
scale
I
again.
don't worry about it.
all right, it's fine. Moving on. Will, what was your
I'd
score?
say like 77, probably.
Lit.
Yeah. I don't remember. I think I've been in the 70s. All
You've
3
been in the
times.
semi, like,
But
yeah.
This one was better than the last 2, I think. Dead Poet
this is
Society,
not-
I think I gave it in the 80s.
You might have hit
I think
80s.
you did.
I think this was better than Dead Poet Society and Star Is Born.
I like it more than Star Is Born, but no.
I put it at the same level, but for different reasons, obviously.
So now we guess the Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
personally, I have to excuse myself. I accidentally looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score before I made a
So
guess.
don't get. Oh.
So I'm not gonna guess.
Okay.
You guys can guess
Yeah.
though.
I actually this won like an Oscar or something, right? It got nominated. I know it got
It's a
nominated.
classic critics movie.
Classic. It was because there was like a lot of symbolism and shit in this
You know the
movie.
critics just want to be like progressive and not be called white men. So
No, but even then, like there was a lot of symbolism in this movie.
that doesn't make a movie good.
It was a literary masterpiece. No, okay, but like Rotten Tomatoes, I'd say like a 90. I think 90 is a safe bet.
82.
82 for Will.
85.
85 for Will. Will, you guys all
85 for Kelly.
you guys all undershot it. It was 98% on Rotten.
Good
What
Tomatoes.
the heck?
Lord. That's like,
Classic.
yeah,
Yeah.
like.
That's why you gotta do the fan score, man. Critics.
What is
The
the
fan
film?
score was 86%, so even that was pretty high for.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
but that was
85.
like that's reasonable. 98. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
what did they watch?
critically good movie.
Yeah, it was.
Also won an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Just an interesting fact: Jordan Peele was the first African American to win this award. So
It was also his
Good
first
movie.
movie, right?
first movie, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
I like that. I love this work in Key and Peele.
Honestly.
Yeah, I like
That's
it.
a
That's
98%.
not even a joke. Like Key and Peele is so good.
That makes you think like how much he wrote of Key and Peele, probably. But
I
Well,
mean, dude, like
Keegan-Michael
that
Key
Key.
does movies too now.
yeah,
doesn't
but
he?
he's
He's
more
like
of
an
an
actor
He
now.
doesn't
He
write
does ads and stuff
mostly.
sometimes.
But he's also like still comedy.
Yeah, he's strictly comedy
Yeah.
though. Yeah. All right, moving on to favorite scenes and quotes. Choosing your favorite scenes and quotes. I don't have a lot, but I'll just go through mine. First one is the deer scene where they hit the deer, and he looks at the deer afterwards and is looking at him. This is actually like foreshadowing for later when he's like trapped in the basement, and then there's like the deer figurehead that's looking at him. It's supposed to be like a parallel moment. So I thought that was cool. Second one, meeting the parents. That was just a really funny scene, in my opinion. Like, just I wrote general white people nonsense. So, just meeting the parents. Is that what it's like when you meet white parents for the first time?
No. Both of like at least our parents are very low key. I think like
Yeah.
none of that whole I would have voted for Obama. For
That was
a
gonna say
third
that was my,
term.
that was my favorite quote.
Favorite quote, I would have voted for Obama because
If
she
you
said he's
put-
gonna say that, and then he said it, and he didn't disappoint. So
Yeah. That was
yeah. Next one, the first hypnotism and sunken place scene.
Now, sink into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
Yeah. Just everything in that scene from like the build up when she's like saying like taking him back to his childhood, and then the music that's playing like when he's in the sunken place, like the musical sting is really nice. I said the party scene.
Nielsen and Elisa.
Hey, how you doing?
So, how handsome is he?
Are you handsome?
Okay.
Oh.
Not bad. Hey, Nielsen. So, is it true? Is it better?
Wow.
Fair skin has been in favor for the past, couple of hundreds of years. But now the pendulum is swung back. Black is in fashion.
For the same reasons as the meeting the parents scene, general white people nonsense. Like, he's just talking to all these different white people, and they're asking him the weirdest questions. On the first watch through the movie, I was ready to accept like, yeah, this is just general white people nonsense. Like, was like, okay, these people are just weird. But later on, if you rewatch the movie, you'll see like they're all looking for something in Chris, and that's why they're asking these weird questions. Next I have Rod's phone call with Rose.
I know why you're calling.
Why is that?
It's kind of obvious, don't you think?
What?
That there's something between us?
No, what you talking about, girl? I called you about Chris.
No, Rod. Whenever we'd go out, I remember you looking at me.
What the fuck you know? Chris is my best friend. Hey, look, if you did something to
I know you think about fucking me, Rod.
ain't nobody thought about fucking you. Why would you say some stupid shit? What the? You ass? Fuck you. I didn't want to. Fuck you. Bye. Shit. Ah, she's a genius.
Just genuinely super funny. I think that was like
Rod was, like,
the peak of the
honestly one
movie.
of the
Honestly, all
best
scenes
characters, yeah.
with Rod, he's just there for comedic
So
effect,
good.
but I liked his scenes. Yeah, and then Chris's escape was the last one because that kind of is what really makes it a thriller movie. He's like just like straight up slaughtering all of them. He's like blank-facedly doing this too, like no expression. I just thought that was pretty cool. Any other comments you want?
Favorite quotes? Honestly, like I don't know if this. It was like favorite quotes as in terms of like. I don't know. I just thought they were funny, like kind of like comedic lines. So like when he was like, "I would have voted for Obama for a third term." Anything Ron says, honestly, like especially in the end, he's like, "How'd you know I was here?" He's like, "I'm T.S. motherfucking A. We handle shit." Yeah, those quotes were good. The scene that the auction scene, I thought that was really nice.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, like the silent auction, because that was really cool.
Yeah, that's kind of like where you like that's
like,
the climax.
Yeah,
I guess,
all the
of
parallels and shit are happening to like Rose and Chris are like out taking a walk. Like Chris is figuring everything out, and that's when like you're figuring everything out too.
Yeah, but it's
the
also
auction.
cool when he finds her like photo box or whatever. Because
Yeah,
like, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh shit.
She's got a thing.
So wait, I also kind of have a question about the thing, because like when I first watched it, so Will said he didn't like, he thought the twist was like when like you found out Rose is in on it, like he was like, oh, that really surprised me. But like that one, she like pulls out the key, she's like, I can't, like that's when I figured out about the twist. But like watching it again, like I don't know how I didn't realize when he's looking at the pictures.
You didn't figure it out when she was looking at the picture?
No.
That's definitely when the twist happens.
I was so confused.
When she says where are the keys, that's when the twist happens for him.
Yeah.
But like as the audience, I think you're supposed to start picking it
I
up.
started picking it up. I was
Around
like,
that.
I was like,
a woman
no,
too,
because I was
at
like,
the
is
end,
it? I was
that's
like, it was literally this, but I was like, is Rose in on it? And I like wasn't sure. And then she's like, come on, like we have to go. I'm like, oh, like maybe she used to be on it, and now she like realized they're wrong in her ways, and she pulls out the keys. I'm like, get there. No, but yeah, that scene was also good. Like going back, like the whole twist scene when like he's figuring out, and then like he's looking for the keys just because he has like so much tension and shit in his voice.
Yeah.
Took her like 45 minutes to find the key.
Yeah. She's obviously not looking for him.
Yeah.
You guys have anything else you want to add?
Well, I just like going back to the auction scene was so tense, and like the lighting or like I don't know, the effect was kind of pale. It was like outside and it looked pale and like I don't know, like it
everything
was,
was
really
like
cool.
white too. Yeah, it was like marble or something. I don't know. Yeah.
But then yeah, I really liked when the first time he goes to the sunken place because it was like he was really good at acting and you could see all the emotions flashing through his face and it like losing control. I feel like they did a good job with like visualizing what losing control looks like.
Yeah, him like falling down is just like a really nice like, and when you see him like the side view with the music,
yeah, that's good. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I just like the auction scene too. And it was like once you realized that it was a silent auction, it like explained like the whole movie up until that point.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Satisfying.
All right, well, moving on to the next category then, Zuko Award. Choose which character has the best character development. I'll clarify this one too because we were confused last time. Character development is how the movie develops characters, not necessarily how the characters change over the course. If you're confused, just think about Zuko. He changes over the course of Avatar, but they also show flashbacks from when he was a kid and stuff
I think it's
too.
good to have both.
Yeah,
Kellyanne,
they're both affected.
Think about Zuko, Kellyanne.
Yeah, Kellyanne. As an avid Avatar The Last Airbender
Yeah.
fan, please think about Zuko.
Don't ruin it.
All right, for
Don't
me,
ruin it. Fuck off. You never
Watch
watched
the
it.
show!
You literally never watched
I
it.
literally said he
literally
has
know.
character development. How is that ruining?
I was just
They all have character development. It's a great show, Kellyanne. All right. For me, I had to say Rose because of the whole twist. She starts off as a love interest who acknowledges her family is flawed, or that's how she's supposed to be perceived. And she sides with Chris in a lot of stuff, which makes it look like she's supporting him. The photograph scene, I said that was like kind of where I was like, okay, yeah, she's like not like she's fucked. But the key scene, that was also really good. The phone call when she's just like blankly staring
That was pretty
That was
and like
How'd she
giving
do
all
that?
this emotion in her voice. Honestly, huge props to the actress for Rose. Like
Yeah.
she was good throughout the movie. And just like at the end, researching her next target. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but on
You
her
told me this.
on her laptop, like when she's researching who she's going next, she was looking up NBA prospects, which I thought was funny. But it was just showing that like how
the
she's
next
like
buyer, you know?
yeah.
Next buyer wanted to be an NBA
Yeah.
star, I guess.
You guys have any thoughts on Rose best character development?
I agree. That's who I would say had the best
The
development.
only one who actually even was
Chris,
developed.
I don't think he changed at like.
Chris was just a skeptical
use the
dude
same
the
guy the whole
whole
time.
time.
And I like that about him because I think Chris was supposed to act as like a blank slate. Like he was like supposed to be like the representation of any given black person. He wasn't supposed to have, like, there was nothing, like, special about him or unique. The only thing special was that he was able to escape from them when all these other black people couldn't. So
Yeah.
that's my view of Chris.
But yes, they didn't reveal anything about him as the movie went on.
I mean, I guess the
They
childhood
said
thing,
his
yeah.
child, but like still like he
and
was
that
just.
interesting.
He was just a good character. Like you didn't really need to change the whole time.
Yeah,
Like, you were just
I was
enjoyable
glad
to
with
watch.
his character.
Yeah.
But he didn't develop much.
But like if you talk about the other development and like how they changed, like nobody changed.
Yeah, Rose pretty much was the only one who had a
Everyone was the same the
The
whole time.
old guy changed a little bit,
The
just all at
blind guy?
once. Yeah, the guy who ended up buying
Oh,
Chris.
like the 3 scenes that he was in.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
Yeah.
he starts off as a good guy, as they all
Yeah,
do.
you think he's just like the one normal
But
guy at
that's
the party?
I don't think he changes though, because like he was kind of just like
He was-
faking
yeah.
being a good guy.
But
Just
that's how the
Developed him.
movie
Yeah.
developed him.
yeah. No. But I'm saying I don't think anyone in the movie actually like changed at all. I'm saying like
Yeah.
character
No one was
development.
in it enough
Yeah.
to like physically change.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But character development wise, yeah, like Rose and that dude, I guess.
All right. Well, next one, sequel or prequel? Could this be a sequel or prequel? No, no, not at all. I think there was like I read on like Reddit or some like fan theories or something that there could be a sequel where like they want to have a sequel, like fans want to have a sequel where like Rose somehow survived getting shot in the like abdomen and she like comes after Chris
Dying
now.
on the road.
I don't want it, but
Yo.
I guess
I
it
think
could.
maybe a prequel would be
she
interesting.
definitely died. Like,
Yeah, she definitely
She
died.
did. But I think a prequel
But-
would be interesting if they did like how they came about.
The
Yeah.
How
How
the
the family
family
came
started
about, yeah.
abducting black people and
Yeah.
I always think that kind of thing is interesting.
Yeah. So like
yeah.
I wouldn't
could
hate,
When the timeline, like if you start and then you end the timeline, like right when or not like right when, but like when
Like
things
when
match up.
after like they do their first
Yeah,
transfer
where the
and then
grandparents
they're like,
become
okay.
the
Oh,
maid
yeah.
and the
Yeah, okay. I don't know
Yeah,
if this.
that'd be
I
another
don't think
good
this is a
name.
category, but like I just want to give a shout out to the maid or the grandma.
Regina.
Technically, yeah, she was the most like horrifying part of this whole
Oh
movie.
yeah, that's another good scene I forgot
She
about.
was so good.
When
like
she
just
started like crying
she
when
just
he said
freaked-
something. What did
he was talking about his grandpa, about they were talking like about Rose's grandpa, and she started crying because like she's like that's like her husband.
was that?
She was-
what
Was
no,
that-
she was
is that what
talking-
you're
she was like-
about?
No,
No,
no.
when
Chris was
he-
like
when
Chris
she-
was
he
like
was
we
you
used to
unplugged
have
my phone.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Chris
And she
was
was
like
like,
we
no,
used
no,
to
no,
have
no,
these
no.
big.
Yeah, and then she just like he says something, but it was like the real lady who it used to be.
Oh, actually
was
no, I'm pretty,
crying.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just keeps saying no, no, no.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
she started crying and laughing, and it
No,
was
yeah.
like it was so cool and
Yeah,
scary.
actually, that's a good one too.
I
No,
really
I just
liked
yeah,
it.
I just want to say like that.
I'll put that audio clip
that
in here.
kid-
Oh, no. 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 I do something.
Genuinely just creeped me out so much. So like that was like probably one of my not favorite because like I hated it every time she came on screen. But like
bitch.
like she actually made me feel. But like I'm saying like the actress did a really good job with that because like she was just genuinely creepy the whole time, and I was like holy shit. Like every time she came on screen, I was like Jesus. But yeah, back to the
So prequel.
Yeah,
that's
back
what
to
you're
the
leaning
prequel,
towards.
yeah.
What was the name of the process they said? I'm forgetting it already, but
the cocoon. No, metamorph.
it's something that started with a C. I was thinking Cthulhu process, but that's definitely not right.
Oh,
So something like it sounds like a part of the brain or something. Does what is
the
it?
cerebellum. The change.
No.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's
Thanks,
the one.
guys.
Oh, the
It's
coagula. The coagula.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so they could call it coagula or something.
the coagula. They could go, yeah.
God, you're writing these movies for
But the
him.
problem is like the point of the movie isn't really like.
Yeah, that's like
We're
very,
kind of getting off like
Yeah.
making
It's
it
just something
making
I
it
would
centered
find
on white
interesting.
people would really be the nail in the coffin of
That's true.
The
What?
movie had a deeper meaning.
It was,
than
yeah,
I thought.
you had to sympathize with the white people on the movie. Okay. Next category, remake it. If this movie was remade today, what would you change about it?
This was remade.
It's a recent movie.
Yeah.
Usually for these recent movies, I think we'll just do cast differences if you have to choose different cast members, because most of the things would stay the same. Like, racism hasn't changed in the last like 3-4 years. But I didn't have a lot. I was like legit looking through the Black Panther cast to see if I could play anyone else as Chris. You have to have a black man play Chris, and you have to have a white family play. There's no.
That's like
the
yeah,
story,
that's the
like-
story. That's no.
I said possibly Michael B. Jordan for Chris.
He could
Nah,
play anyone.
he's
Yeah.
no. I don't think
No,
he's
no.
too like. like Chris seems like a normal dude.
He's
Like
yeah,
there's
and
no Michael B. Jordan's like
steals
a
scene.
model, low key. Like
Yeah.
What I like about
he
Daniel,
doesn't look like a normal dude that you just see on the
what I like
street.
about Daniel Kaluuya is that he has like this amazing face when he doesn't know if someone is kidding or not in the movie. Where he's like, "Are you shitting me right now?" But he also doesn't want to offend them, so he doesn't like make like a that's absurd face. But it's just like, "Are you being serious right now?" Like I can't explain the face.
I don't
But you know
I
what I'm
don't think
talking
you'd
about.
be able because Michael B. Jordan like he does not look like a normal dude, you know? Like
But not only that, like his presence, his stage presence
Yeah,
is like
he's-
it demands attention. I think
Yeah.
Chris was like perfectly cast. To
Anyone
just
else,
be, like,
possibly?
demure. I don't know.
I
can't
don't think you
anyone.
could recast
Because
anyone as
I thought
Chris.
the white girl was like I thought she
Like
whoever the
Rose?
actress was, yeah.
Yeah,
I
she
thought
was she did a good job
was
too.
a good actress for the position. I thought like she went from looking normal, and I'm sure that that's also part of like the costume and makeup department, but they did a good job of making her
Honestly,
look like
just-
normal in the beginning and then
Yeah.
like really sterile and by the end.
All the all the casting,
Weird as
like
fuck.
all the actors and actresses, like none of them did a bad job. Like all of them were actually like genuinely good at playing their part.
Yeah, like I
Like
can't
I couldn't really
imagine
recast, yeah.
it any different. And they were the only two main characters. Like
I guess you maybe could like recast the family around a little bit. Like the dad,
Yeah,
you could
but it
just
just
get
wouldn't even
any
make
like
that much of
old,
a difference.
yeah, like
Yeah, I feel like the point was that they were like none of them were big name actors. Like
yeah, that's
or-
also a big thing.
and
Yeah,
so like
I think was this Daniel Kaluuya's breakout movie?
yeah, it was because he
I haven't
was
seen it before, but
no, yeah, he was in Black Panther after this.
Yeah, which black person wasn't?
but like it's like something to say about like they're just playing normal people. Like the point is that it's like
Yeah.
any black guy in any white family would
Yeah.
be the exact same.
Yeah.
in that
that's a good
situation.
point. Yeah, because if they were like big name actors, then it would like kind of distract you from
Yeah.
the fact that they're supposed to be no names.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe Michael B. Jordan could have played like the dude that gets kidnapped in the beginning. You know, he comes back.
That's a super important role. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm saying like if they really want to give him a shout or something.
Bring in Dave Chappelle at this point.
Dave Chappelle.
Inexplicably have Dave Chappelle
Just
playing
Dave Chappelle is Dave Chappelle. Comes in like a wife beater and a hat. And he's like, "Hey guys."
I guess we could take this opportunity to talk about the alternate ending for this movie too,
Oh,
because so if you haven't seen, there's deleted scenes from this movie, and originally there was supposed to be an alternate ending for the movie where Rod isn't the person who picks him up at the end of the movie. It's an actual police officer, and he gets arrested for killing the Armitage family.
I think that would have been better in my opinion.
I've read on reviews online. People said that would have ruined the movie for them. Like,
I think
kinda-
I think it would have been more real.
It
I
had a
think it would have
happy
been more
Those people
real.
are soft.
yeah, it would have been fucking real as fuck, and it would
Yeah.
would have been depressing.
It definitely stresses you out when you see the cop car roll.
Yeah.
You're like, holy fuck, he
Yeah,
looks
he will
so
actually.
I mean, I guess it does get to yeah, like you play it out in your head like what's about to happen. Like
Yeah.
one black guy survived and there's like
10 white people dead.
Yeah,
guilty.
like
That's yeah, like I don't really like horror movies that much, and not that this one's like not super scary, but that's like the exact reason why I normally don't is because they leave you with this like really depressing ass
feeling,
ending,
yeah.
and
But
so
that's
I
it.
like that there was the twist. Yeah, I mean whatever.
I would have liked it if it had or like
it would have been real
if-
as hell if
yeah,
they had the
or
alternate.
if like
I
some of them had
didn't.
survived too, and like he still got in trouble, or like because like the point of the whole point of the whole movie is how
It's
like
inequality,
unfair it is
yeah.
for black people, and like
I guess yeah.
the happy ending kind of takes away from that for me. Like because there has not been a happy ending in real life yet.
Damn, Will.
All right. Deep.
Jeez. Hey,
Nickels and
Will's
dimes
keeping it
and
real
butts and
though.
ifs and
If-
whatever.
Will's like, hey, if
White
ifs and
man.
if ifs and butts for candies and nuts.
I mean, it's just like he was saying it's good stuff. Like he's opening people's eyes, and then you leave him with the happy. Like, what if someone like
Yeah,
what if someone's
thinks
like
that racism
ignorant
is
about
dead.
racism? Yeah, and
because
then they
of-
watch that movie and they're like, oh well, it works out. Like, no, it doesn't.
Good point. That's a good point.
Good point, I guess. All right, then I guess if we have nothing else for this category, I'll move on to the next one. Personal impact. How has this movie changed something that you view in your life? I have two things. One is very broad, so I tried to be more specific with it. I said race, but specifically how black culture is viewed by white people as kind of like a commodity. I think the white people in the movie, they weren't like racist towards black people because they hated black people. They kind of did it more so that they didn't view them as like actual human beings, but more so as like fashion trends. Like there's
They
that
were uneducated.
one white guy like at the party or whatever. He was like, black people are in fashion now or something like that.
He's just saying black was.
You said
Yeah,
black,
black
is,
was in-
that
black
was,
was in
you weren't supposed to
fashion.
know that
Yeah.
point yet.
But yeah, like I think this is going beyond that. It's supposed to say something about how like white people have kind of like stolen a lot from black people's culture, music, fashion, like all that stuff.
For sure.
And this is supposed to say something more about modern racism than just like white people hate black people.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, honestly, it did, like, obviously, okay, so, like, none of us are black, but, like, it really did, like,
Spoiler.
you can't see us right now, so, but, no, like, it really did, like, open my, because, like, you hear about all the stuff in the news and all that, but, like, I think it really gave a good, like, because you were technically from Chris, like, Chris was the audience for most of the movie, if you know what I'm saying, so, like, you kind of did get a lot of stuff from Chris's point of view, and how just, like, regular things, like, in the beginning, he, like, gets pulled over by the cop for, like, basically nothing. Just because, like, and, but, like, nothing's wrong with this car, like, a blinker or something like that. But, like, it's, like, you, like, hear about it all the time, but, like, it kind of was interesting to see it from, like, another point of view, you know?
I liked seeing the way that they dealt with, or, like, the way he mentioned, do your parents know I'm black? So, like, that part of the movie, like, watching, like, an interracial relationship was interesting for me, like, something that I don't think about.
That's funny. That's my second personal impact, actually, interracial relationships.
Yeah, like, I think it's cool because, you know, it's not something I would think of. It should be like, oh, do they know I'm black? Like, it's just not an experience I've had. And then, you know, the way they treat him and the culture clash. So that was interesting. As someone, like, in a relationship thinking about what it would be like if it were different.
If Will was black,
yeah.
is what you're saying. I said
Will.
for interracial relationships, if I were to ever date a white girl and she would like ask me to meet her family, I would always think of this movie. So
Oh my god.
I'm like a little bit scarred.
You're fucking Indian.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're
They
the
should
next
make a sequel
Yeah.
with Get Out 2, cast all the Indian people. Yeah.
Talk about
Gonna
our
be
struggles.
Bring
Yeah.
on a Muslim person.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
That
god.
would actually be crazy.
They should make like a Hindi version, like where it's like a Muslim family.
Yeah.
I know.
We're getting into a really like dicey
Touchy
territory.
topic, yeah. I just don't think we should. This is just a racy movie, you know.
Step back
like,
for a sec.
Yeah.
Cut.
Cut this out.
All right. Any other personal impacts that you guys had? No.
I think those were the main two. The main like, themes of the movie.
We're just blazing through these categories. All right. Next one is we're already at most underrated. So
What the?
something you like from this movie that people don't talk about enough. This is one that actually I think people talk about a lot, but I'm still gonna mention it. Jordan Peele. To go from Key and Peele and like just light comedy movies to this like this social commentary like thriller, just amazing. This really brought him to the forefront for me as like a genius like writer director. I wasn't really expecting this from him, and along with Us, I think like he's really made a name for himself in this genre.
Have you guys seen Us?
I have not seen Us.
I recommend it.
I have not seen Us. You guys know me. I'm not gonna watch it.
Just an interesting thing about it was that he tweeted before Get Out came out. He said, "Get Out is a documentary," and before Us came out, he tweeted Us is a horror movie. So Us is I think scarier movie, I guess.
There's no way in hell I'm watching
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I like it because it's not just like random scary stuff. It's like actually like it makes you think a little bit. So that's.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of scary movies that make you think that I absolutely hate. Like Midsommar, I mention it every time. Midsommar
Yeah.
fucked my shit up.
But it's not like a Conjuring thing. Like it's when I was just like shit is jumping out you. Like there's no reason for it.
Dude, Insidious.
Insidious is good though.
That shit was terrible.
What
I
are
was,
you talking
I
about?
was
It's
like,
such a good
Joseph,
movie.
I just like didn't watch half of it.
Yeah, that's your fault.
Oh, I don't really feel like much of this movie was underrated because like everyone was like, holy shit, like Jordan Peele's amazing and everyone's acting so great and it's a very topical theme and all those things are true. Like so, but I just like can't think of something like aside from specific scenes that people don't talk about. Because like
the acting is amazing in this movie.
But like
Yeah,
I feel like
it's
people
really good.
talk about that though.
but yeah,
Yeah, this movie was definitely hyped up when
It
it
was
came
really
out,
hyped.
and it lived up.
It
to
lived
but-
up, yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I had something like Girish talked about before, but there's not a lot of jump scares, which is like pretty
Yeah.
typical of horror movies.
I like that.
I think in horror movies it's a trope to have jump scares. I think it's kind of unfair because it's like I've heard the analogy that like horror movies having jump scares to scare you is kind of like comedians tickling you and saying, "Hi, I made you laugh." Like I'm funny. Like
It's cheap.
it's cheap.
Yeah.
So to have something that's like actually scary to think about is
I don't
different
even
than
like
jump
it.
scares.
The
Yeah.
themes were scary, but
themes
like
are
the
scary,
movie
yeah.
itself wasn't
Yeah.
that scary.
Like you can watch it and be like, okay, I wasn't scared at any point.
Yeah.
The jump scares were literally just like Regina walking in the background.
Walter like running at him like head on.
I mean, I
That was
guess.
kind of
Funny.
funny in my
But
opinion.
yeah, you saw it coming from like a mile
That
away.
was like the opposite with jump scare because you expect it to be scary, and then at the last second it wasn't
He just
scary.
runs away.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. I guess I'll take this moment to talk about all of the foreshadowing and symbolism. There's this movie, This is an interview with Jordan Peele and Vanity Fair where he goes on like Reddit and talks about all the fan theories.
Oh, I love that.
Definitely
series,
recommend you guys watch or like listen to it at least. It's on YouTube. But I'll talk about some of my favorite things that I didn't notice the first time, and I like when I watched this video I realized it. So when the guests arrive, they all come in black cars, and this is symbolizing white people in black bodies. And they're greeted by the grandparents, which is kind of weird because they're the housekeepers at the time, and you didn't know that, but they're the grandparents, so this is technically their party, so that's why they greet them. Walter is running because he wants to beat Jesse Owens.
Wait, I thought that was not a foreshadowing thing.
No, because like that's why he was running.
Yeah, I know, but like I thought that was pretty clear because like he says like once.
No, but like when you saw that, did you know that it was Jesse Owens? That it was a grandfather and Jesse Owens?
Well, I don't know if he was trying to be. I just knew he was trying to be a better runner. Because, like, that's why he changed into the...
No, like, the first time you saw Walter running.
No, I didn't, but I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
I figured it out, like, once you saw the movie. Like, not on a second rewatch, like, just when you think about it.
Yeah, I'm saying I didn't
okay.
realize it. Jordan Peele actually said, like, when the grandfather tackles him at the end, like, when he's about to shoot him and he does the flash thing, he was gonna, like, make, the actor who plays him say, like, oh, I got you, Jesse, or something like that, but he said that was gonna be too dark at that point, so... he cut it. I thought that was cool. They wanted him to stop smoking because they want to preserve his body. That's why they keep telling him to stop smoking.
I didn't get that, yeah.
Chris frees himself at the end by picking cotton. That's purposefully.
I read that one.
They apparently had to get a special chair for him that was like had cotton in it because most chairs don't have cotton now.
I saw one like kind of relating to that like all the tools that he used to kill the white people in the family were like traditionally seen as like suburban white class objects, you know, so like he used the bocce ball and then the cotton, the teacup, the deer's head.
I guess that's kind of cool. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
it's just something I saw on the thread. I didn't think it is.
Okay, and last one I had was Rose, who when they first get pulled over, she tells the cop that why are you checking like Chris's ID? You don't need that. And that's because she doesn't want a paper trail. So otherwise people would know that Chris was at their house and stuff.
Yeah. All things that make the movie better. Like when you look back on it, you're like, oh
yeah, like there's a lot of things.
I mean, there's also like the whole obvious symbolism where like there's literally an auction.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
There's a lot of pretty obvious, like along with the.
I mean, there's also stuff in the video that I didn't mention. One that I didn't write down, but I'll say is that when he's showing Chris around the house, he says, "Don't go in the basement. We have some black mold there. Black being black people, molds being molds for white people." So that's something else.
That's a good one.
I don't think Jordan Peele officially confirmed that. He's like, he read the theory and he was like, yeah, that's what I meant by that. Which means, like, obviously, I guess there's some things that people pick up on that he probably didn't intentionally have, but it's just cool.
I do think it was funny how in the movie, like, the son or whatever, who came, like, first off, he was just drunk the entire movie, which was kind of... Like, I guess, but...
I didn't get his
I just didn't know what his deal was the whole time.
I think he's supposed to represent, like, the more, like, violent side of white... Because, like, what's his name? The blind dude who, the blind dude who, like, said... Who's explaining the plot to Chris. Who's like, this is what's gonna happen. He's like, you're lucky you got Rose. Like, whatever that guy's name is. Jeremy, I think.
Yeah.
He's like, Jeremy's methods are a lot less pleasant or something. And I think, like... At the beginning of the movie, when you see the Andre get kidnapped or whatever, that's Jeremy. So that's how they got him. So I think he's supposed to represent the more violent parts of their.
Jeremy's character was just weird. I just didn't understand because.
Honestly, like just more violent parts of white racism.
Yeah, and he was like getting passes, so that could have been symbolic. Like they were like, okay, fine, like telling him to fuck off, sort of, but like they weren't punishing him for it.
Like, yeah, like that's.
That whole family just swore a lot. I was very.
Do white people swear that much? I'm just curious.
I don't remember them swearing that much, but
no, like
at the dinner table.
At the dinner table, they were like dropping F-bombs, or at least Rose and Jeremy were.
Yeah, my family.
Is that tolerated in your household?
My family doesn't, but hers does. I can confirm.
Mr. Smith,
fuck you,
Mr.
Will.
Smith, you allow this in your house?
More now, but like not when we were.
Yeah, well, not when we were young.
Okay, yeah, but
not like when we were young, just like even in high school and stuff.
Yeah, well, these kids are like 25 though. It's 26.
Yeah, they're in their late 20s.
We wouldn't do it at the dinner table either.
That's
or like when
you
we're
don't
all
need
like.
At the dinner table.
Yeah, we do sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
When? That's the cat's table.
No, not. We used to, but.
Alright, this got off topic.
Yeah.
But anyways, now what I was getting to was like his deal was just like kind of, I don't know, like he was just like, because the thing that really caught me off guard, because I was like, wait, so like when the dad's doing the surgery, like who's gonna transfer to him? I think Sujay was like, he's training to be a nurse, the son. And I was like, this guy is gonna be an operator, like.
Yeah, and they say at the beginning of the movie, he's like, he's going to med school. And he's gonna follow his
like
dad,
he
so
just
that's why.
seemed fucking insane, honestly.
I mean, you ever go to med school, you'll see all these people don't deserve to be doctors.
We need to ask them what their intentions are.
All right, well, I guess we're moving to our last category, most overrated. This is gonna be a short podcast, unless we talk a lot on this one. But
It's pad time, guys.
all right, I'll start with the one that we mentioned in the when we were watching the movie. All the Microsoft product placements.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
If you watch this movie, I didn't notice it at all until you guys mentioned it. But
Second rewatch, just look for
every
Microsoft.
person has a Microsoft like Surface Pro laptop, Microsoft phone. I think what really broke it for me was when Rod used Bing to fucking search. Fucking Bing.
The only
like,
time I use Bing is to look up
one uses
Google.
that.
Like, it was. I think what really like got me was like, I was like, okay, like a lot of people have Surface Pros, like they're not bad laptops, like they're very convenient, you know, like okay, fine. Then Chris pulls out his phone, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And it has a Microsoft logo on it. I'm like, oh my god. It was just insane how much product placement there was, and I feel like I didn't notice the first time. But like the second time, they're literally throwing it in your face. Like they just have unnecessary pan shots across like a room, and you just see a Microsoft
Surface
like
laptop.
perfectly propped up, the logo all visible. That was funny, yeah.
But yeah, that was one thing. I didn't like how the final reveal when he's talking to the blind dude and they're showing all those videos and stuff. I didn't like how that was on an old school TV, but it looks like they're remotely controlling it. Like he's talking to the blind dude and they're like straight up like FaceTiming at this point. Like it's an old school TV. How are they doing that? But also like why did it have to be an old school TV? Like they couldn't have just like shelled out some money. Like this is a rich family. They couldn't just put like a Microsoft Surface Pro there and like
Adds to the
called it a day.
theme, you know? It's
yeah,
like an
of it
old.
being old-fashioned,
Yeah.
antiquated.
yeah, but they're like
beliefs.
FaceTiming on it.
Yeah. Well, he's speaking through the intercom in the room.
Yeah, because he was in the house.
Yeah.
But
So like, there's just an intercom system in the house, I guess.
I don't know. I didn't believe that. I don't understand why the grandparents were housekeepers. Like, they didn't have to be housekeepers. They could have just been like,
Well, no,
these are our friends who are staying with us. Why do they have to be housekeepers?
I don't think they were like. I think they were just putting on that show for when Chris was there. Like I think when no one else.
Yeah,
was
you
there,
can say that, but like, why did they
But
have
they
to be
wouldn't have-
housekeepers when Chris was there?
But they were black people, like.
Yeah,
Like,
they
they
could have just
would-
been like, these are our friends staying. It would have like
But
gotten
they
off.
don't have like they weren't they weren't people that would be friends with black people like they,
No, because there were black people at the party too, like Andre. So they could have just been like, yeah, these are some of the friends who came to the party early.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I wouldn't have believed it if there were two black people staying in that house after like seeing how they acted.
But like they make a comment on it. They're like, yeah, I understand what it's like to see like white people, black like servants, but they didn't have to be servants. Like these are.
Yeah.
Also,
I
why did
guess.
they agree to be servants? These like your parents. Like
I mean,
Just for the show.
Just
no,
for the
like
show,
obviously, I assume after like Chris leaves, like they're really running the house. But like, yeah, just for the show, they were just pretending to be servants. But like, I guess I do see your point. They could have been friends, but also like, the family was very like painted out to be
Yeah.
like just the image.
I
of
feel
them
like
that,
they were only
you wouldn't
housekeepers
believe it.
because they wanted them to be housekeepers because they were black. Like they didn't need to be housekeepers.
It was the most believable, like, for that family
Well,
to have black housekeepers.
To be fair, I feel like the grandma and the grandpa, because the grandpa, like, whenever you saw them, they were, like, actually doing work, like, chopping wood and stuff, and, like, if you have, like, elderly people that live with you, and, like, the grandma was cooking the whole time, and, like, if you live with elderly people, like, I feel like most of the time, like, that's just what they do anyways. It's like, how would you explain, like, oh, my friend is just gonna be taking care of, like, the food for, like, while your entire stay is here, you know?
Maybe.
But I mean, yeah, like I said, or like Will said, this movie was very hyped up. So like, and like, like it lived up. So I don't really think anything was that overrated.
That's why my overrated stuff is like really nitpicky. Like
Yeah.
these are. Not,
It was a
it
hyped
doesn't
up movie.
It doesn't
and
change
lived
how I
up
think
to
about the
hype.
movie. It's just stuff that I was thinking about while I watched it.
Well, yeah, I feel like the hype didn't.
Disappointed,
hype,
then disappointed.
None of these are disappointments. They're just like
No,
very nitpicky stuff.
For me, I'm saying the hype is never helpful for a movie because like it. I can't even say that it lived up to the hype for me. Like it was a good movie. And
I
if
had
it
no
hadn't
hype
been
going into
hyped,
this. I just
I
heard it
would
was
have been
good.
like, holy shit, that was great. But because everyone was like, this is an amazing movie, I saw it and I was like, it's a fine movie. Like it's okay. I gave it an 80. Like
Yeah,
I don't know. It was fine to me. And I thought the themes were
I-
interesting, and I thought how much thought he put into it was cool. But like for me, it's something I'll forget in like a couple months.
I felt like the end was pandering. Like,
What, the
that he made it happen.
the rod?
Just like that, yeah. Like that he survived and then the friend came and he didn't get in trouble or anything.
That's fair. So you're a fan of the alternate ending?
Like, the whole point of the movie was how unfair it is for the. Like,
Nah, I
for
see
black
what
people.
Will's saying. It was a good. It was.
And
I like the alternate ending would be
He copped
real.
out at the end. I feel like I don't know why. Like maybe he was saying I don't know. Maybe he was saying like there.
I think it
there's
just
hope.
went too depressing. I would have been
But-
like, yeah, fuck
I
this.
agree. I know. I think it would have been a lot more real if.
But like
if
I
the-
like that kind of thing. Like when it's like
It doesn't like
There's
try to
not a happy
suspend your
ending.
disbelief. Yeah.
But not only that, like, yeah, it's an advancement of his point instead of being like hopeful.
Yeah.
and
The whole point of the
switching.
movie,
it's
like,
fine to be hopeful, but
No, I'm
no,
validating.
I
the
know,
whole
I'm
the
just
whole
saying,
point of the movie
I
was how
can't-
it's just
can't, like,
unfair.
formulate how I feel about it. Quite like it would have been better in my opinion if he had stuck with his point the whole time.
My last one is very minor. I didn't understand why there was an Asian dude at their party. Like, there was one Asian dude.
Who was the Asian?
He had
Oh,
a
yeah.
He had a talking line too.
Well, then maybe
He was
it
one
could
of the
be that
buyers. He
they
was
were,
one of the
like,
buyers.
Maybe going to expand into Asians later.
The Asian market.
You know.
The
No,
untapped
something-
potential.
He was like
He was one
he
of the
was,
buyers.
like, a white person, not a black person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was one of the buyers.
So like
Nobody
Hey,
wants
if he's-
nobody
hey-
wants an Asian
So-
mold.
Hey,
I'll
they
tell you
don't
that right now.
discriminate. Honestly, they just, if you have money, they'll let you. You know.
Yeah.
they'll
What
let
if you were?
That's
Yeah.
it,
What if
yeah.
you were a black guy and you wanted another younger black guy?
I don't think they would have done that.
Why not?
I don't know. I just like.
Would
feel
you
like that
trust
wasn't the
yourself to
point.
go into
I feel
this
like the point was
operation
that
with them?
I think the point, like,
I'd rather be this black guy than the other black
Like,
guy.
Asian-
Yeah, but would you trust those white people to like the Armitages? Like,
I-
you know what they do?
The Asian guy was.
well, I think Asians are looked upon as like I read
Was
it,
it
like,
supposed to be a statement? Is my question.
yeah,
Like,
like my AP GoPo class was like
Oh.
super
AP
racist
Oh.
GoPo.
or something, but it was just like the stereotypes are that they're really smart and really successful, and then the stereotypes against like African American people is like, you know, that they're not, or that they're like athletic, or things that like aren't I don't know.
Necessarily too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't know. So I'm thinking like maybe it was a point that, you know, while Asian Americans might be still a minority, they're not treated like a minority the way that like African Americans
That's
are.
fair. Yeah.
I understand that point, and I guess that was my question though. Like was there a
Yeah.
point of him? Like I don't have a problem with him being there, but was there a reason?
Should have had a brown guy there. You know.
Brown guy honestly would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Brown people are 100% the people who would do this. Like second to white people. Like I would
Yeah, we
believe
get
that.
all the doctors. You know.
True. There's definitely some person who's in India like perfecting this process right now.
Oh god.
Nah, yeah, I mean, honestly, though, like, nothing overrated about this movie. We gotta start picking more overrated
I said
movies.
The classification
match
of
the
this as a
podcast.
horror movie was
Overrated.
yeah. I don't think it was a horror movie.
I don't think so either.
I
I
said it
don't
was more of
think so
a
either.
thriller.
I mean, like it made me feel bad inside,
That's not a horror movie, though.
but it wasn't.
But I
like,
feel bad
scary.
about
Yeah, that's
myself
me like
already.
every day.
I said it was more of a thriller. I already told you about the Jordan Peele tweets, but
Yeah,
it was very. It was not a horror movie in my opinion. Very mellow.
I agree.
Is there a word for like movies that make you think but aren't like a specific
Thinkers.
genre?
You got thrillers, you got thinkers. You know?
I have no idea. Something to Google. I mean, Bing.
Bing. Let's pick a Bing. All right. I guess if that's all we have, this is the end of our podcast. Thank you for listening. Like I said on all the other podcasts, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play.
What, Apple Podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's where
We
I
have
listen to.
one person listening on Apple
I-
Podcasts. I'm not gonna.
Shout out to who?
Yeah, but shout out. He gave us a 5-star. We have 1 5-star rating
Oh,
on both
yo!
our podcasts, and it's because of him. He's
Yo,
our loyal
everybody-
fan. So
Everybody give us a rating, you know.
one
tweet out.
one person listening on Apple Podcasts. Thank you.
If you can comment, I don't know how this works, or give
You
feedback.
can't comment.
Well, leave us that 5-star rating.
All right. Yeah. Thanks.
See you guys.
Get out.
Get out. Oh.